Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me again. Okay, so today we're going to film a video about Paris and planning your trip if you are planning to go there. I wanted to give an updated video for this year. Things have changed a little bit since the last trip that I went on, so I thought it could be worth just quickly going through a few things. I'm going to just speak from the angle of a sort of like a more sort of like not luxury, but let's just say a nice trip to Paris, like if you're going for a weekend or you're going for a week, stuff that you should look out for. Everyone has different tastes, but I do think that I have a good eye for things, and I think I have a good sense of what's nice and what's not nice. I wanted to start off with hotels. I got a lot of questions about what hotel did we stay in. I was telling email subscribers, because I always tell email subscribers things first, so make sure you go sign up for my email. I was telling email subscribers that the hotel we stayed at was called Hotel du Printemps. It was in the Opera area. I liked it and I think it's perfectly fine. However, it is not a luxury hotel and it's very simple. It would be hard for me to recommend the hotel, being that we talk about really high-end luxury brands on this channel all the time. It is not a luxury hotel, and I think it's super important for me to just be clear about that. If you are used to staying at Crillon or Le Meurice or the Plaza Athénée, this place to you I think wouldn't be somewhere that you would want to stay. But if you're someone who can stay somewhere super simple, it's very simple, it's very Spartan in design, but it was super clean and safe, and we were two women traveling together, and it was completely safe for us. So I really like the neighborhood, and it's very well priced, and the rooms were much bigger than the previous hotel we stayed at, Élysée Union, which honestly I wouldn't recommend that hotel. The Élysée Union hotel from my trip last year was in a beautiful neighborhood. It's in Chaillot in the 16th arrondissement. It's actually around the corner from the Peninsula, which is like one of my holy grail hotels to stay at. But the hotel itself, the Élysée Union Hotel, wasn't great. This hotel was definitely nicer than the Élysée Union Hotel, but it's still not a luxury hotel. So I would say only go there if you are someone who can stay somewhere that is very, very Spartan, very simple boo-boo, but it was very clean. So for me, cleanliness really matters. I need to stay places that are super clean. So I wasn't really affected. I was telling my husband about it. My husband does not care at all. He can stay anywhere. He can stay somewhere super nice. He can stay somewhere like that's super Spartan. He can stay somewhere super just chilled. He's fine. Now I want to talk about the more higher end hotels because there are a lot of my followers who've stayed at them. I quickly asked a few people who I know have stayed at very high end luxury hotels, and they were telling me the places that they really liked. I keep hearing good things about the Peninsula, Paris, which is in Chaillot on the 16th arrondissement. It's literally next to the Arc de Triomphe. Heard great things about the Peninsula. I've heard really, really great things about Le Cheval Blanc, which is another very famous hotel. Heard great things about the Four Seasons, which is on Avenue George V, which is where your girl Honey and her wig is as well. And it's on the corner of the Champs-Élysées Louis Vuitton flagship mothership store. I've heard great things about those places. I've heard really good things about the Plaza Athénée if you stay in a suite. Many people have said it's really, really nice. Also heard that the Plaza Athénée concierge is still phenomenal, and they can get you pretty much get you anywhere. So I think another benefit of staying at the like really high-end hotels like the ones I just mentioned, but I'm also going to include Crillon, Le Meurice as well, and Le Bristol, which is another very famous hotel. And I think I'll also include the Westin at the Place Vendôme because I've heard fantastic things about that hotel as well. The thing about all of those like really high-end, super glossy, very glamorous hotels, and the Bulgari Hotel, which is new, but I've heard really good things about it as well. The thing about all of those places is that all of them have concierges. I know when we think of the concierge, everyone just thinks of Big H and her wig and Kellys and stuff, and I get that, but there are a lot of actually really tough places to get into in Paris that have nothing to do with Kelly or Constance's. We tried to make a reservation to Le Giraffe, this time around, and we never heard back from them. They never got back to us. Last year, my husband managed to get us in, and I don't even know how he did it, because it's not that easy to get a reservation there. So last year we got a reservation. This time in February we were unsuccessful. So even like the really hot restaurants to eat at, like the restaurant at the Eiffel Tower, you have to like do that months in advance, even to get an appointment at Chanel. I think for my next trip in April, I want to stay at a really, really nice hotel, maybe one of the ones I've just mentioned, but I'm also going to include the Sofitel hotels, because I feel like the Sofitel hotels have that really cool luxury vibe, but and they're very, very, very luxurious, but you get much more in terms of space. Like I was looking at the Sofitel Opéra Les Scribes hotel, which is in the opera area. I think I actually loved the area where the hotel was this time more than Chaillot. This area was much busier. There were lots of shops, lots of cafes and things like that. And even though it's a super touristy area, there's something about it that was a little bit residential as well. So I think this time I would like to stay in the opera area or close to the opera area. I was looking at hotels last night for my trip in April, which will be for my birthday. So that trip's going to be super crazy. We're going to go to London, we're going to go to Geneva, and we'll go to Paris as well. And I was like, where do I want to stay? I was looking at the Sofitel Opéra Les Scribes. If you have stayed at the Sofitel Opéra Les Scribes specifically, I'm not talking about other Sofitels. I know there's one at Faubourg. There's also one at what's it called? There's also one I think near the Arc de Triomphe. I only want to hear from you if you've stayed at the one that I'm interested in, and if you've stayed in the Opera Suite. Apparently there's this really beautiful suite as well that you can stay at. So I'm looking at that one. I'm also looking at the Peninsula again, because I always go back to looking at it. It's one of like my holy grail hotels to stay at. I'm also looking at the Bulgari Hotel as well. I love the location of the Bulgari Hotel. We walked past it when one day we were going walking, my cousin and I, and then we were on the Avenue de Georges V. You know, you see Louis Vuitton on the corner. You know, you see your girl, Big H, Annie and her wig. There's also like the Crazy Horse Paris, you know, that really famous club, the Crazy Horse. And then randomly, I'm like, oh my God, it's the Bulgari Hotel. And it looked so good and so chic. So I'm gonna be looking at the Bulgari Hotel, the Peninsula, and the Sofitel Paris Les Scribes in Opera, because I just love the look of the hotel so far. I feel like I want to stay somewhere a little bit nicer, that's a little bit glossier this time around. That's giving me, all three of those hotels give me fashion editor vibes. I think I'm going for fashion editor vibes, honey, for the April trip. But my husband was like, I don't care where we stay. Like, he does not care at all. So I just wanted to quickly mention that hotels are very private. I've realized that with me, I want to stay somewhere super nice that isn't very grand. Like, I don't need to stay somewhere that's very opulent and grand. I've heard great things about the Ritz. I think maybe one day I need to stay at the Ritz just to see what all the hype is about, but maybe the Ritz might be a bit too grand for me. But at the same time, I'm not particularly casual. And another thing I was telling my husband last night, and we both agreed, was like, we need to stay in a hotel where we can both have desks so we can open our laptops and write things down. Okay, now I wanted to quickly talk about taxis. It really does add up. My cousin and I, we split the cost of Ubers, which is fine. I found that Bolt is a little bit cheaper than Uber. It's a bit cheaper. It's not as expensive as Uber, so it's something to note. You can use the Bolt app instead of the Uber app. I find that Bolt is just a bit cheaper, and I do think it adds up a lot, particularly if you're going to be driving everywhere and not taking the metro. We didn't take the metro once on this weekend trip. I much prefer taking Ubers everywhere and cars and Bolts and things like that, but I do think the Bolt app is cheaper, and I have mentioned that, but I just wanted to quickly mention it again as well. In terms of safety, felt super safe, never felt unsafe, not even for 1 minute did I feel unsafe. However, when you get to the airport, when you're leaving Paris, there are a lot of scammers. You have to be super careful. Again, I told email subscribers exclusively first, because people who are subscribed to my email, honey, get the tea first before everyone else. So if you read the email, you already know what time it is. I'm just letting everyone else know. At the airport, there are a lot of scammers. And I was lucky that the Bolt driver who had taken me was like really sharp because he was driving me in the morning, and there was this man harassing me like when he was taking the luggage out. This man comes out of nowhere and starts taking my luggage and putting it by this trolley, and I'm like, I thought he worked at the airport for a second. Then I as I'm about to pay the Bolt driver, because I was paying with cash, I realized that he wasn't. It was a scammer. And then the Bolt taxi driver asked me, do you know this man? I was like, I don't know this man. I was like, oh my God. And I told him in English, I was like, can you shout to him in French? I don't know this man. Tell him to go away and leave me alone. And then he yells at him in French, like, get out and leave her alone. I'm going to go and like, find a policeman or something. Because there are police roaming around, but they're not like outside. And they're not, honestly, they're not that many of them. I feel like there should be more because there's so many scammers at the Charles de Gaulle airport. And the scammers have always been there, but when you're traveling alone as a woman, like, it's a little bit different. I'm normally with my husband for a lot of trips, and this is the first trip in a very long time that he hasn't been on the trip with me. And I was telling him about the scammers, and he was like, they literally just see a woman alone, they don't even miss a beat. So he told him off, the driver told off the scammer, and the scammer goes away. Then I go in, and literally you just enter, and they're like, so many men yelling at you about wrapping your luggage, wrap your luggage, and they're not part of the official luggage wrapping company. So there is like an official luggage wrapping point at Charles de Gaulle, but they're all these random people. Honestly, I wouldn't even bother wrapping your luggage at Charles de Gaulle, just because I think getting scammed is so easy there. Like, you just end up getting scammed, and it's such a nightmare just dealing with them yelling, because they just come in your face, and they speak so many languages. They speak English, they speak French, they speak Spanish, Italian. I saw them speaking so many languages to so many people, and they're like, can we help you, can we help you? Let's wrap your luggage. And then the whole point is that they're like, let's wrap your luggage. They take you somewhere shady, and then they start harassing you for money. And even if they have like wrapped it, it's like they'll charge you, you know, a ton of money. It's not worth it. I didn't wrap my luggage was fine. I think it's fine. So be aware of that. Another thing, again, I told email subscribers, my email is linked below if you want to subscribe to my email newsletter, it's free, is that they are also standing outside the tax, harassing people who are leaving the tax form as well, place. And I was like, literally finished my tax, and I was leaving, and then this man was like, Madame, would you want to wrap your stuff? I was like, can you leave me alone? Oh my God, okay? And it's the only time I lost my cool in the whole trip was like going home. I never lost my cool, not even once in Paris. It's not like I really shouted at him. I was like, can you please leave me alone, sir? Do not speak to me, leave me alone. Okay, because he was just driving me mad. Like, there's so many of them who are asking you to wrap things. It's super annoying. So just ignore those people, because it's like a scam. Basically, they like wrap it, and then they'll be like, oh, give me 100 euros or give me 80 euros or 90 euros or something. It's like, I think the real luggage point is not even that much or something. Or even then, they'll tell you to go somewhere, and then they might like take something from you or whatever. It's just don't speak to the people who are trying to get you to wrap luggage at the airport. I'm really surprised Charles de Gaulle haven't done a lot about it. I feel like some of them might be sincere, they're just trying to earn a living, but a lot of them, it is like a nuisance, and it's super annoying. Okay, another thing about a tip that I have is, if you plan to do the tax, again, if you read the email newsletter, you read all of this, because I've told everyone in the email newsletter this, but you need to give yourself hours to get through passport control. Passport control took ages. I don't know why it took so long, but it took absolutely ages this time. So give yourself like ample time to get through passport control to exit the Schengen zone. So yeah, those are just like the key things about the trip. Now I wanted to talk about food recommendations, because we ate at some really yummy places. So I just wanted to just tell you about the places that I recommend that I think are worth the money. I'm going to start off with the most touristy place that everyone is like, oh, it's a tourist trap, it's overpriced. I personally don't really care. I really liked it. Then that's Angelina Paris. That's on the Rue de Rivoli. It's close to the Tuileries. And it's close to the Louvre. It's a little bit of a walk though, to be fair, from the Louvre, but it's not that far. And it is of course Angelina Paris. We went there, we had such a yummy, like, just a cute, fun, yummy meal. It's very expensive. I had the chocolate eclair, the croque monsieur. I also had hot chocolate. My cousin had some other pastries as well. it's expensive for what it is. It's probably very overpriced compared to a normal French patisserie, but it is like a brand at this point because I think they also have a location in New York now. Everyone's like, oh, it's a huge tourist trap. It's a tourist trap. I mean, it is a tourist trap, but it's a very, very good tourist trap. I liked it. I'll go back there with my husband and I'll take him there next time. We always meant to go, and we just never could like get ourselves together to go. There is a huge queue. We were queuing together, just talking, so the queue went fast, but I do think the queue is about a 40-minute queue. You will be queuing for some time to enter, to sit, and we sat upstairs, not in the main tea hall, we sat upstairs. Another place that I loved, and I love this place, I think it's worth every penny, is this Thai restaurant called Moom Mam. It's close to Printemps. It is brilliant, fantastic, love this place. It's, yeah, just really beautiful, like Thai food. It was so yummy, and I had pad Thai. It was really, really good. Really, really like this place. They're so nice in there as well. They speak Thai, obviously. The concierges at the restaurant, they speak French and they speak English as well. So we just walked in, we're like, bonjour, bonjour. And we're like, oh, you know, like to have something to eat. And immediately she just starts speaking English. She's really nice. And she's like, okay, cool. And it's fine. Then like not, in some restaurants in France, like when you start speaking English, they like get creepy and weird about it, but they're very, very friendly. I feel like the Paris restaurant scene has changed a lot. They know they have so many tourists now. In a lot of restaurants, they have English menus, and it's fine now. In Paris, if you go outside of Paris, yeah, you might get some people who are like, oh, people, you know, who don't want to speak French, but in Paris, it's fine. Really, really, really like that place. There's this other place called Pandino. It's near the Rue Saint-Honoré. Really, really, really like that one as well. They had like pizzas, chicken Caesar salads. I think that's a nice place to recharge after walking up and down the Rue Saint-Honoré. I would recommend that place as well. It was very good, and it was actually quite well priced as well, if I recall correctly, because I remember when my cousin and I paid the bill, we were both quite surprised because we both had hearty meals and it wasn't as expensive as we both thought. And believe it or not, one of the best places that I really enjoyed to eat at was the Monsieur Dior restaurant within the Dior Avenue Montaigne restaurant. It was absolutely great. The portions were tiny. It's very expensive, but it's a vibe, honey, and it's a mood. I again had like, it was called the Croque. I think it was called the Croque Dior. No, it's called the Croque New Look. So they made a, because you know how, you know a croque, what a croque monsieur is. So they made a Croque New Look. So cute. They have this painting of Christian Dior at a table drinking wine, looks like looking out on everyone. Just really cute, fun little details like that. We, again, you need a reservation there. We did not know that. We just randomly walked up there and we're like, hello. And then they were like, do you have a reservation? We're like, no. They were like, you need a reservation here. And then we're like, okay, we'll go then, because we didn't have one. And then someone literally cancelled as we were standing there, and then we got a table. So I really like that place. The portions are tiny though. You will not be full. It's like a very light lunch. It's extremely light. So those are some really good food recommendations. I think out of all of those places, where are the places that I would go again? I would go to Moom Mam again, 100%. The Thai restaurant. Really, really like Moom Mam. And I really, really like that place. I'd go to Pandino's again. Honestly, I go to all of them again. I go to Angelina's again. I go to the Monsieur Dior restaurant at 30 Avenue Montaigne again! Go there again. It's not a problem at all. Absolutely worth it. So I would recommend that you go to those places. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Those are just the core things that I wanted to just mention. And then just super quick about the language stuff. Just say bonjour when you enter the shop. But if you are staying in the city center, the really touristy parts, the Louvre, Eiffel Tower, Champs-Élysées, Georges V, every French person, Parisian person who lives there, works there, is a fluent English speaker. You don't have to worry about speaking French. However, if you are going outside of Paris, you do need to work on your French, I think, yes. I do think it will help a little bit in places like, you know, Cannes, Toulouse. Well, Cannes is quite touristy. Cannes, I feel like, would be okay. But like, once you leave Paris, like, the people's like willingness to speak English starts to decline and to decrease. And even some of my French friends were telling me like, oh, in Paris it's different now because it's the capital of France, but once you leave Paris, like, people will definitely expect you to speak French a little bit more. But in Paris, the city center, I think it's fine to speak English all the time. It's not a problem. Also, if you're from Spain and Italy, a lot of French people can speak Spanish, can speak Italian. Many French people also can speak quite good German as well. So if you speak another European language, you might even be able to get away with that more than English. If, for example, if you speak French and you're going to, if you speak Spanish, you're going to the south of France. If you might be like, hola, habla español, you might find that someone will be like, sí, I do speak Spanish. So it's just worth noting that, but it's not really a big deal. I really hope that these quick tips have helped. You guys, I wrote about the VAT refund on my blog, honey, so you can go read about it on my blog. It's linked below. Tell me if you find the Paris content that I film interesting. Would you like to see more Paris content from me in April? Do you want to see another Paris vlog, or should I not even bother? I can't tell if my travel vlogs are interesting or not, because when I watch them I'm like, I don't know if this is interesting or not. But you'll let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next video.